We celebrate her life and grieve with our staunchest allies over the passing of a monarch and the end of an era. Here to celebrate the life and legacy of Queen Elizabeth and what King Charles III is likely to face is Dana Perino. And Dana, I cannot tell you why, but you were one of the first people that I thought of when I heard that she had passed. And I guess it's because you are so good at humanizing people, but also putting them in historical perspective. So when you reflect on her nearly century-long life, what comes to your mind?
Well, thank you so much. It's always an honor to be on your program. And you might have thought of me also because my husband is British. He and I have been married 25 years, and I had a chance to live in England with him for about a year before we hightailed it back to the United States. And one of the things that was very interesting is just to get the real range as an American living in the UK, to find out what do people think about the royal family. My husband might have a view that was even different from his son's. But then I would meet people who were die-hard royalists, that they loved the royal family and thought they were such great ambassadors. I became a big admirer of hers over time. I think that, Trey, we've talked about on your show before how discipline, personal discipline, can help you with dignity, that can help you deal with all of the things that come your way. And she really exemplified that. I had an opportunity to meet her in 2006. I had my picture taken with her, and then 2008, once again, I had a chance to shake her hand. And, I'm only 5 feet tall. She wasn't much taller than me. Maybe in her heels, she was a little bit. And what I remember about that is the presence that she had, just the incredible ability to still a room, for all eyes to turn to her. And the last thing I would point out before I keep talking and don't give you a chance to ask questions is the importance of dedication to duty. And we can talk about how in America people have lost that, but everyone watching this program, you can do that yourself. You can have that discipline that gives you freedom, and you can have dedication and duty, which gives you a much more fulfilling life. And I think that's one of the reasons people are also mourning her passing. It's like losing a real way of life as we turn to the modern world.
Dana, it has been said that you don't want to follow a legend, you want to follow the person who followed the legend. Yeah. So King Charles III doesn't have a choice. He's up next. How do you expect, if at all, the monarchy to change in Great Britain? I'm sure he is perceived differently from the way that his mother was perceived, but what do you expect there?
I think that he will try to take it a little bit slow, but he has been planning for this since he was 4 years old. And he does have ideas about modernizing the monarchy. One of her greatest wishes is that the monarchy would be able to continue. And in order to do that, there might have to be some changes. What could those be? Could it be financial, right? The people of the UK sort of feel like, why should the royal family get to live this life of privilege when we are struggling? You're going to have a very tough winter this winter when it comes to energy prices, for example. He also, it will be interesting to see, she was very apolitical. In fact, you could go for years not knowing how she thought about a particular issue. He has worn his policy preferences on his sleeve. And I don't know whether he will continue in her footsteps in being apolitical or whether he would try to take the country in a different direction. Green energy is a big interest of his. But first of all, the other thing he's going to have to do is make this trip to all of the countries in the Commonwealth. And Prince William and Princess Kate, they had a really difficult trip to some of the Commonwealth areas, including in the Caribbean here. And I think you'll start to see some wishes to start to break away. Scotland wants to break away from England. There will be possible other movements like that. She wanted the monarchy to remain, and she really believed in unity. Can he keep that going? That's something to watch in the next few months.
It was not lost on me that I think she actually passed away in Scotland. Speaking of keeping the United Kingdom unified, I'll let you go with this question. I mean, your history is, you're a student of history. I'm pretty sure we fought a war to kind of get away from the king and queen, but yet Americans are fascinated by her in particular, but also by royalty, by the monarchy. Why do you think that is, and why was she so beloved on this side of the pond? Well,
I think we share a language. There's also the point, one of the reasons that we fought was for freedom of religion. And that remains important. And I think that has changed a lot in Britain as well, in terms of more openness, very multicultural place now. But also, I think not only do we share a language, we share a culture. You think about the Beatles, for example. That was in her lifetime. And she would have seen what the Beatles were able to do all around the world to unite people. That's some of your best diplomacy right there.
A century worth of life, and she got to take 2 pictures with you. So what a
also,
great
she had
life
30
she had.
dogs in her life, which sounds great.
I thought about you, and I heard about her love for dogs too. So
Absolutely.
y'all actually have a lot in common.
Right.
Maybe,
I'm just like the
maybe
queen.
you should go be the queen.
I'll just be the queen of mid-morning with Bill Hemmer.
That sounds fantastic. And the 5, the hardest working person in all of television, one of my favorite people, Dana Perino. Thank you for sharing your reflections on the Queen.
Yep, you bet.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.